I'm Alan Weiss, and this is The Writing on the Wall. Hi, welcome back to Writing on the Wall, episode 105, and this one is about fear. People only fear a few things. They think they fear a lot. They think they go through life in fear. But you can't remove a problem without removing the cause. And people only fear a few things. People fear the physical. They fear death. They fear dismemberment. They fear disease. Makes sense. Somebody near you with a gun, you should be fearful. You're operating heavy equipment, dangerous equipment, you should be fearful. You should be careful. People were certainly fearful about Ebola not so long ago. With good reason. Sometimes not with good reason. People fear loss of safety. They fear threats. They fear personal loss. That's why people are afraid of people hacking their accounts. They're afraid of somebody at work who says, you'll never get that promotion, or I'll ruin you here, or things like that. People have financial fears. They actually fear they're going to starve or lose their home. I mean, that's seldom even possible, although sometimes it is. But people have terrible financial fears. I know people who are afraid because they used to have $300,000 in an account, and now they only have $200,000 in the account. Maybe that's something to look into. It's nothing to be fearful about. People fear loss of affiliation. They fear isolation. They fear non-support. They fear loneliness. I think that's one of the reasons for Facebook, frankly. There's a lot of lonely, needy people on Facebook. Please like me. Please tell me you've read this. Please indicate you've read this and pass it on so somebody else can indicate they've read it. I just got up this morning. What do you think? So I think loss of affiliation is a great fear. I think ego loss constitutes a great fear. Rejection, poor performance, humiliation. Some people, in terms of ego, are afraid of failure because they'll be mocked. But they're afraid of success because they'll be seen as an imposter. They feel they can't measure up. If you go through life afraid of failure and afraid of success concurrently, you've got a huge problem. So if you look at physical threat and safety threat and financial and affiliation and ego threat, what do you do with all that? Well, ask yourself this. What's the worst thing that can happen to me? What's the worst thing that can happen? I went for a special checkup the other day. I have tinnitus. It's a ringing in the ear. I have tinnitus for 25, 30 years. I've had it for a long, long time. And if I don't think about it, I don't hear it. If I do think about it, then I can hear it. A lot of people have it much worse than I do. They can't sleep. I don't have that problem. But it interferes with my hearing when there's ambient noise. I can't hear low conversation terribly well, and that's what we were talking about. And the doctor says, it's too bad about the tinnitus. I said it should be the worst thing that ever happens to me. So what's the worst that can happen? You're not going to go broke. You're not going to starve. You're not going to get thrown out of work. What's the worst that can happen? In most instances, 99% of the time, you can deal with it. It's sensible to fear a gun. It's sensible to fear an approaching tornado. It's not sensible to fear a phone call or writing something down on paper or attending a meeting. You have to get your fear in some kind of rational order. And so if the tornado's approaching, head for the basement, slam the door. I understand that. If a meeting's approaching, you don't stay home in bed. Face it. Deal with it. So what can you do? Apply the following. Number one is self-talk. And self-talk says, I can easily discuss these issues at the meeting. I can use language that won't threaten people at the meeting. I can ask questions at the meeting which will clarify things. I can show that I've read up on this, I'm knowledgeable about it. So self-talk will help you overcome fears because the way you talk to yourself informs your behaviors. The second thing is you can get a coach. You can learn skills. You can learn to be more assertive. You can learn to confront. You can learn certain language. You can learn metaphors. A coach can help you, which will reduce your fear level. And then finally, and the most extreme intervention is therapy. And therapy addresses baggage. There's some things that may be wandering around in your head that you were told 25 years ago that you've never let go of. Some people still suffer from a poverty mentality because their parents had a poverty mentality. Their parents should have had a poverty mentality. They went through the Great Depression. But these people have not. So self-talk, coaching, therapy, these are things that can help Get rid of fears, expunge fears, eradicate fears. And that's very important for you to go through life confidently. No one excels in life trying to be safe. No one excels trying not to fail. If you're not failing, you're not trying. And whether it's athletics or business or entertainment, the people who succeed the most are the people who take risk. Not ridiculous risk, but prudent risk. And you cannot be afraid to fail. Unidentified fears. Saying you're afraid without identifying one of these causes and taking corrective action is simply paranoia. You control more of your life than you believe you do if you allow yourself to do so. I'm giving you that permission.